Twajivunia. TapTap Send Money Transfer has launched its app. Twajivunia. TapTap Send Money Transfer has launched its app in Kenya. Send money to M-Pesa and Kenyan bank accounts. Send money quickly at the best rate. Hassle-free. Available in the UK, France, Italy, Spain, Netherlands, Belgium and Germany. Too mucky too.
Hello everyone. Thank you for joining. Hi Janet. Hi Commissioner Wanderi. How are you, Madam Akello? Can you all hear us well and clear? You are muted, Janet.
Yes, we can.
Yes, thank you so much for joining. Anyway, thank you everyone who's joining. If you can hear us, I can see we are starting slowly to start the discussion for today. I'm going to hand over to Janet, who's the moderator of today. As you all know, we are here to support you all from the Kenya United Diaspora of Organizations in Europe. And we are happy to have you here. So welcome, Janet. How have you? How is London? And why are you here in Europe anyway? Give us a little bit of that so that people can orient with themselves.
Yes. Well, with me, I'm a diasporian wherever I go, whether it's Germany, US, UK, I connect with the community. First of Kenya, Germany is one of my biggest shows that I do across the world. And I know that Face of Kenya, Germany, a lot of people want to get the information. So I decided to be part and parcel of the IEBC team in Germany and support you to really get these numbers going, mobilization. So I'm here to just make sure that our people at the ground receive the right information. So that is why I commit to this.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. And taking you over to take over the day today and run as our moderator. Yeah, take it over. It's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Joy, for inviting me, and Commissioner Wanderi and Madam Akello. It's good to see you on the program today. And voter education, we are feeling as the diaspora, like, we needed to engage a little bit earlier, but better late than never. So to start the program today, let's just say it's not just in Germany that we don't have the number going. In the UK, we also are struggling to get the number going, and we need to get it right. This is the last few days. So we would like anybody who's watching the program today, if you're in Germany, in the UK, wherever, let us all engage and get this conversation going. So to get started, let me hear from Commissioner Wanderi. How is it going with your registration in Germany? What would you like to tell us?
You're muted.
You're muted.
Thank you very much, Janet, for inviting me to this program. I'm glad to be in Germany to facilitate and make sure that we register as many Kenyans as possible. We are glad to report that we have registered, I think now close to 100 or more than 100 people. And that is not bad for the beginning. However, we wish to appeal to the Kenyans in Germany, France, and any other of the European countries to make it this week. We'll be closing on Friday at 5 o'clock on 4th.
Friday the 4th.
So,
I was very excited to see actually some Kenyans from Germany, from Paris, joining you this weekend. So is that going on well? Kenyans
it's going on well. We had a team from Paris led by Weldon Coril that came yesterday. We spent the night together in mobilization get-together at Tembo restaurant. We had several Kenyans who had come, and we talked to them. We have told them they need to register as voters and to participate in the electoral process in Kenya come August 9th this year. And today we also went to churches to mobilize from the churches. We have talked to Kenyans there, and we are telling them, come forward. It is your country. You love your country. Come and register so that you'll be able to vote in August.
Yes. Okay. Now moving to the next step, I think a lot of Kenyans are still not aware when the IEBC register. Most of them are feeling a disconnect there. They don't understand how you process the data. Maybe could you maybe tell us a little bit, or maybe let the Kenyans know the IEBC, the security of their data with the IEBC.
Okay, that's very important. I have been trying to explain to many Kenyans that the information you require from you, if you're 18 years and above, is a valid Kenyan passport. And for those who are new, who are registering afresh, if you registered in Kenya either in 2013 or 2017, your data is still with IBC. All you need to do is to go to the embassy and go with your valid Kenyan passport and change your voting station or the polling station. What I mean is, for example, if you registered or voted in Kenya in 2017 using your identity card, for you to vote in August this year, you need to change your vote from maybe Nairobi Primary School to Berlin. And for you to do that, you need to present your passport at the embassy, and people will be able to transfer your details from Nairobi Primary School to Berlin. That is the transfer and change of particulars. That exercise is going on, and it is so important for Kenyans who are in the diaspora and who have moved to the diaspora since 2017 to do that, because if you don't do that, it would only mean that you would go back to Kenya to vote from there. But if you do that, you'll be able to vote from any of the polling stations, either Berlin, London, or wherever else you are likely to be. So that is a very important thing. The next important, and this is, I want to tell all the Kenyans, wherever you are, the information that you are going to give to IEBC, it is protected. It cannot be released to any other authority or any other government. It is in the database of IEBC, and to make sure that nobody else can get that information, if it is required, you are the only person who can go there with your fingerprints to check that information. And you know, because you cannot give me your fingers, I go and check the data with. That means that nobody else can access that data. It is protected by the laws of Kenya under the Data Protection Act. And we cannot, as IEBC, disclose or give that data to any other person. Two, it is protected by your biometrics. That means it is only your fingerprints that can be able to access that data. So Kenyans, wherever you are, feel free, you are protected. And I keep telling Kenyans who are here, wherever you are, you came here, you are doing whatever you are doing, how you got here, you know how you got here. Feel free to come to the embassy and register. That information is purely for you, to enable you to vote in August. And it's not accessible to any other authority or any other government or any other party for that matter.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Joy, what questions are Kenyans asking from Germany? What are they really wanting to know?
Yeah, very good question. Thinking of Europe in large, because my work was actually not looking in Germany, I also want other people to do. It's the awareness. It will be sad if we know some people never knew there was an opportunity like this. So, and if it's there, the question for our people having at the moment definitely is about the passports. It's the passport, the possibility to vote with ID is becoming an over and over discussion. Why not ID? And we have been preaching this, I think, since we started this mission with the Commissioner Mazenge all the way in last year, December, because we started voting mobilization. And I really appreciate we did this quite early. Our people were very informed, despite the situation. And the other thing is the distance, of course. It's too far away to go to Berlin. That's another issue we are hearing a lot. And what we are saying is that it's the way it is right now. The first time, baby step, we have already, because that time it was more discussion. We even wanted to have it in France, in Scandinavia, in so many countries, and even thought, okay, let's come closer. Maybe we have other cities in Germany, like Stuttgart, like Frankfurt, where where you have your events all the time, Face of Kenya, Germany, the population in Frankfurt. It was not possible, Cologne and all that. We understand that there was a budget issue, and these are the questions we are getting a lot. But I'm telling people, those people who have it, because we also have those people who have it and they're not still going to vote and they're able to do it. And these are the people we want to encourage them. We have only 5 days left. We can no more. So it's only the 5 days left. And on 4th, as I was sharing there, 4th is the last day. So yeah, these are the questions that are going in. And we are noting all of them because the IEBC have told us to note everything else. And I think the way out, the engagement, I have to say, we have heard, although it's not their situation, that the way they're regulated by the law in Kenya, they have been able to give us the information we need right now, right every time, whenever we were asked for. So I think in terms of information, Europe and Germany cannot complain. I think the Commissioner Mazenge and the team did a good job, despite being very far away. Yeah.
Can I clarify something?
Yeah, go ahead.
It is the reason why we are not able to move our registration kit from the embassy to other towns like Frankfurt and whatever else. It is not actually more to do with the budget. It had to do with the law. And IBC, as far as we are concerned right now, the registration can only be done at the Kenyan soil in the embassies, high commissions, or consulates. That is why I remember we discussed this matter at the plenary. Plenary is the board of the IBC. And then we looked at the law, the way it is today. If we moved that kit from our Kenyan soil to go to Frankfurt, Bavaria, or Hamburg, and somebody go to court, even after the election, to challenge the presidential elections and say the registration was done outside the Kenyan soil, it is a possibility that we are going to have the whole presidential election nullified. So what I'm saying, and I'm telling the people in the diaspora, both here and in other countries, let us, after this election, get together, prepare a memorandum to the Speaker of the National Assembly and to IEBC, so that we can lobby the parliamentarians to change the law so that come next election, we will be able to do it better and be able to reach more people. So what am I saying? I'm saying that through this process, we are learning some lessons that will help us improve our operations and our relationship and our engagement and our collaboration with the diaspora. So let's take it as a lesson.
Thank you. Yesterday I had a hard talk with the IEBC manager, Madam Tobiko. We did talk at large and we agree the same thing. The law as it is right now, we can't have other centers. In the future, if we, the diaspora, get together and lobby, that could be a possibility in the future. But right now, within the next 5 days, we only can mobilize as much as we can.
Correct.
Again, I was saying 70% of the diaspora work with the German passports or Euro passport if you're in France. So sometimes they have the Kenyan ID, and we agree again that is not a go zone for the IEBC. So getting a less number right now, getting a smaller number right now, it is inevitable. But let's say if you're here listening to this program today and you've got your Kenyan passport wherever you are in Europe, you need to turn up at the embassy, the German embassy, and register. And we hear two things. If you want to vote in Berlin, you need to have the Kenyan passport. If you need to vote in Kenya, there's a leeway there. Now you can use your Kenyan passport, Kenyan ID to register. Can you confirm you can do that in Germany? If somebody wants to vote in Kenya for the election on 9th of August, are you taking the national ID?
Where, in Kenya?
If somebody is in Berlin right now, and they are going to be in Kenya for the voting,
yes.
Are you taking their ID? Are you understanding what I'm saying?
I'm not clear. Can I come again?
Because when I spoke to Madam Tobiko, it became clear that that can happen. A Kenyan who has their national ID, I can have my national ID. With that national ID, I come to Berlin and I say, I am registering to vote in Nairobi primaries. I will be in Kenya in August to vote. Will you register that person?
That person can, that would also have to, if he is here now, and he is registering now here in Berlin.
In Berlin to vote in Kenya, though, their data will not be data for voting in Berlin. They are registered, like even somebody is a visitor, they are on holiday.
Yes, because
there's just a window, a small window of if they don't have the Kenyan passport, but they are going to be in Kenya, they have their ID. They're going to vote in Kenya, in Nairobi primary or in
yes. I get what you're saying now.
Yes.
Yeah, then that vote would have to be transferred to that polling stations when the data is being processed.
Okay, fantastic. Now, Madam Akello, is there anything you'd like to add with what we are speaking? Because I know you will be giving us a presentation. And in fact, I would like us to have the presentation so we know where we get into where we bring more discussion.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Joy. I think I would actually just go right into the presentation so that now from there, now we'll be able to, once we have all the information we need, then now we can proceed and maybe take questions and add whatever else we can add from there. Is that okay?
That was fine.
Okay. So first, we already talked about the centers in the registration. I mean, the registration centers we have in the diaspora, and we use this. We came up with these centers because of the presence. We had to determine them using the availability of a Kenyan mission in that area. And you're talking about the embassies, high commission, or consulates. And this is, again, like we say, this is in law. And then deciding who goes where was determined on which countries get the registration was determined on account of the registered number of Kenyan citizens living in those countries. Those are some of the things we looked at coming up with the centers we chose for registration. So the diaspora centers we are using are Uganda, that's happening in the embassy in Kampala. Tanzania has 2 stations because they have an embassy in Dar es Salaam and a consulate in Arusha. We're doing Rwanda, Burundi, South Africa, and South Sudan. And then we're also doing it in the US, and they have 3 stations in Washington, DC, in New York, and in Los Angeles. We are doing the United Kingdom, and this is happening in London. We are also doing it in the United Arab Emirates. They have 2 stations in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. We are doing it in Doha in Qatar, here, Berlin in Germany, and also Canada. And we have 3 stations there, Ottawa, Toronto, and Vancouver. To be registered as a voter in the diaspora, you need to have a valid Kenyan passport. But if you are a citizen residing within the East African community, then you can use your ID. But for the rest of the Kenyans in the diaspora, the rest of the diaspora will need a valid Kenyan passport. You're saying you should be of 18 years and above, again, age of majority. And then we're saying you present yourself physically along with your identification documents to the registration officer. So again, this is why we can't do it online. You have to come there physically. This is also a requirement of the law. And while you're there, we're going to give you a form. It's called Form J. And this Form J is basically an application form to be registered as a Kenyan citizen residing outside the country. And then once we finish all of this, we are going to take your biometric and biographic data. This means your fingerprints, your photo, and then also, of course, your name, your the number of your registration document, and also date of birth and all of that. And the reason we take your date of birth is because of the point I said earlier. You have to be of 18 years and 18 years and above. And if you are not 18, the system will automatically reject you. So we cannot register people who are underage. We started this registration, especially in Berlin. I'm speaking for Berlin in this case. We started registration on Friday, 21st January 2022, and it's running for 15 days, which means it ends on Friday, 5th February. And we've been working from 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening, Sunday to Sunday, no breaks. And if you happen to be there by 5 o'clock, but and it's running late, we will still register you. I like to say we are like a bank. I don't know if banks still do that now with the age of COVID, but like a bank, once you're in there, we have to serve you. We're not going to send you out if you're already in there. So we will register you no matter how long it takes. But also we should mention that this process is very simple. It's a less than 5-minute process. It's a 3-minute process, 5 minutes stop. And the reason we've gone to 5 minutes for some people so far is in Berlin, it's winter, it's really, really cold. So when it's really cold and your fingers are frozen, sometimes we find it difficult to read your fingerprints. So that has been taking us, that is what has been pushing us to 5 minutes, but it's shorter than that. It takes much fewer hours than that. Minutes, sorry. For the time zones, we are going to be using we're using the official working hours of the embassies and consulates in those countries, in the host countries. So that's why we are sticking to 8 to 5 o'clock. And also, of course, now, except with weekends, they'll be opening for us during the weekends. We are saying there will be one biometric voter registration kit, that's a BVR kit, in every center to capture, at least one in every center to capture biometric and biographic details. At least one, but here in Berlin we have 2. So that means if there's 2 of you coming into the the registration center, you will both be served at the same time, and then you can leave at the same time. You don't have to sit and wait for each other. And then we are also saying there's a kit back home in Nairobi for people who are there currently, but they live in Berlin and they will want to vote come 9th August. So they don't have to miss the train. They can just go to our headquarters and they'll find a kit there. During this time, we are also going to, if you've been registered before, and by before I mean after 2010. After 2010, so if you registered for the 2013 elections or the 2017 elections in Kenya or anywhere else because we did diaspora, we did the East African countries in 2013, and then we added South Africa in 2017. So if you registered in Kenya or any of those countries for the 2013 and 2017 elections, but you'd like to vote in Berlin, this is also the time you can change here. So when you come, we will do something called change of particulars. Change of particulars is basically if you registered at home using your ID and you want to come and register here, so then we'll change the document you're using so that now here you will register using your passport. But also we'll also be transferring you. We'll give you a form called Form C. Form C is essentially a request to transfer form. So we'll change your voting station from wherever it is you're registered, and then now you'll be officially a registered voter in Berlin. Of course, this exercise is purely being conducted by IEBC. It is the mandate of the IEBC to conduct voter registration, and it is being conducted by IEBC. The fact that we're using the embassy premises does not mean that they are involved in the process. They're just giving us a place to do the exercise. We're just using the embassy's premises because that is Kenyan soil in whatever country we are in. And the exercise is purely done by IEBC. We don't share this information with the embassy. It is we take it purely for the purposes of registration to vote. And then yes, you will have an opportunity to verify your details. Later, we'll announce the dates, but they'll be somewhere around March. You'll have the opportunity there'll be two processes in one. It's called inspection and verification of the register of voters. Now, inspection is where you can do it online or via SMS or any other way that will be announced by the commission. You don't have to come physically to the embassy. You can just check your details and then see if they're okay. But then there's verification. Verification is where you have to come physically there. So for those people who are saying they live very far, because we got some concerns from people who say they traveled very many hours to come to Berlin to register. So they may not be able to, come back here to verify. We are saying you don't need to make the trip. Just send in your details, whichever way we'll have told you to do that. Send in your details, confirm that they are correct. But also, then if they are not correct for whatever reason, then now that's when you have to make the trip for us to change, because we cannot make changes to the register, to your information on the register without you there to give us your fingerprint so that we'll know for a fact that you approve for us to make that difference. This goes back to the question you asked earlier, Joy. We will not have other alternative sites for registration. We will do it purely at the embassies, the consulates, or the high commissions. And this is stipulated in Regulation 33 of the election regulations. Regulation 34, sorry. This means that if we do this exercise anywhere outside of the embassies, it is an election offense. It is illegal, and it is very potent grounds for petitions and maybe even nullification of the results. So we have to do it in Kenya. And I was telling people earlier today that even if we are at the border, we are in Busia, Uganda, we are at the border, you choose and you're on the other side. You're on the other side, you're just a few meters. We can actually even have a conversation across the border. You choose to either come into Kenya to be registered in Kenya, or you go to Kampala to be registered there at the embassy. So we can't have it anywhere else. And we would have loved to come and register people in Frankfurt. We'd have loved to go to, would have loved to go to Paris to register people, but we have to do it here. And we'd have loved to go anywhere else, but we have to do it here and at the embassy, because that is what is in the law. And once you are registered in the diaspora, you will only participate in the presidential election. That is you'll only vote on August 9th, you'll only vote for the president. But if there is any referendum anytime here, you will also vote in that. So while in the diaspora, those are the only two elections you will participate in. And while you're coming to the registration center, we say our staff there is very friendly, they're very helpful. They smile a lot. They will offer you any assistance you need, any question you might want answered. They're there. They will give you all the assistance you need while you're in there. And for voter registration, we haven't received so many people wanting to observe this process. So far, the only application we received for observation was for an organization in Canada. But what we're saying is, if you would like to observe the registration process, you're very welcome to it. We'll just you write to us. There's a form you'll fill. You send it to my email is there. You send it to me, and we will process your accreditation, and you'll be able to observe the voter registration process. And this also goes for the rest of the election process. From here on out, you can observe the registration. You will be able to observe how we are doing the verification and inspection. And come election day, you'll be able to observe how we are conducting the election. You'll have access to the polling station from beginning to end, and you'll see how we do the process up until the time we close and announce the results. So that can be done. This, I know we are now past the deadline for the registration, to observe the registration. But from here on out, if you would like to observe the rest of the processes, you can simply apply, and we will facilitate you. So for voter registration information, we've been doing this via several platforms, social media platforms, and I'd really like to thank our partners here in Germany for all the support you have given us in spreading this information via your social media pages. We've been doing virtual meetings with diaspora groups like this one. We've been doing physical meetings. We've had several meetings with Kenyans living in Berlin. And also we've done phone calls, any single way we can use. But we've proven so far that the best method that has been working for us here has been peer accounts. So you come register, you get the information from us, you come register. And then we've had a lady who has been to the embassy about 5 times. And each time she's coming in, she's bringing somebody else to register. She registered, she goes and picks a friend, they come, she brings them in, they register, she sits there, waits for them, they register, and then they go. So that has been really, really helpful. She has really brought us a lot of people, and we've seen that a lot. Somebody comes, registers, and then they realize that, it's actually a pretty simple process, and it's quick and fast, so they go and bring somebody else, and that has really worked for us. And so we thank you for the support you've been giving us in spreading this information, and that has been our major appeal to you to help us reach out to Kenyans and continue mobilizing people to come and register. We only have 5 days left. We would not want anyone to be left behind by the train. So just come. I know sometimes the distance is a lot, but again, participating in elections is a matter of personal choice, personal sacrifice. You know what you want for your country. You know why you want to participate in this. So it is worth it is absolutely worth the sacrifice and worth the trouble of traveling all that distance to come in. And also, I should mention that while you're at the embassy registering as a voter, we will be observing the COVID-19 prevention protocols. So whatever protocols are in your country, we'll be observing that. So come in, with your mask, wearing your mask, we'll sanitize and all of that, social distancing and stuff like that. Thank you. I'll be available. I'm still here for any questions that people might have.
Thank you very much for that information. Very useful, because a lot of Kenyans just need that voter education. And today it's voter education. And I I'm looking at that, it's quite clear. It's been on the website as well, the IEBC website. So we need to take the initiative as diaspora. We have lobbied for so long to have these elections happening in the diaspora. And the government has made a step. Yes, it's not the steps we wanted. Would have wanted satellite stations, but we didn't get that. But we have what we have. The government has made, the IEBC have made that one step there at the embassy. So I'm asking the diaspora, we might never have another opportunity like this if we don't really get the numbers, because politics is about numbers. And if the government says the money the IEBC are using abroad doesn't really qualify the 100 people, we might lose this chance. So the diaspora, if you're watching today, if you're listening today, if you know a friend who has got their passport, their Kenyan passport in Europe, have them go to Berlin. I applaud such a lady who is going and picking people and bringing them in. So let us really mobilize the next 5 days to get more people going to Berlin. And when you are registering people, what kind of concerns are they bringing? How is that engagement with people when they come in to register? Mr. Wandere.
They have listed the same issues that we have been talking about why can't we use this. But one of the key issues is that some people have their passports expired, and they have applied for them to be renewed, and the passport has not been renewed yet. Yes. In that case, we are finding it very difficult to assist that kind of a person. And if the passport is able to come before the close of business on Friday, then it would be able to assist. We are also working the embassy that any passports that are ready, they can bring them as quickly as possible through the diplomatic system, so that the Kenyans who are here, they can be able to use them to register. So basically, we have issues about the distance, where people are coming from. We have other people who are living here, and like somebody who is going, I think, through a marriage process, and the original passport is with a solicitor or a lawyer, and has a copy, and he says this is going to take maybe about 2 weeks. Can I register with a copy? Yes, you can register with a copy, but as far as we are concerned, within the next 2 weeks, you get your passport. You use your passport to vote. You cannot use a copy. So we are looking at those kind of cases and saying, as long as you be able to have your passport by the time and the details are the same, then you have no problem. So basically, I think that's it. And of course, there is a fear that is my data information that is collected going to be shared by anybody else? And you have clarified that that information is not going to go anywhere else. That information is with the IEBC. Even at IEBC, you can only retrieve it using your fingerprints. So even the chairman of IEBC or commissioner like me or any staff of IEBC cannot be able to retrieve that information from the database without your vidore, your fingerprints. So you are secure, you are safe, and because you are here, we are calling upon you to participate in the electoral process so that you can be able to choose a leader whom you think will be the best person to lead Kenya in after 2022 elections. So my appeal is, come forward, don't delay. You have 5 days, take advantage.
Actually, to be honest, it surprises me how so many Kenyans are online talking about their presidential choice and what have you. In the diaspora, people are actively engaging in politics. But when it comes to them actually activating those politics into vote, it's not happening. So I'm challenging the diaspora. Don't keep talking about who you want to lead Kenya if you can't actually vote for that person when you've been given a chance. And yes, we know the documentation is not right, and this information should have come a while ago so as people can get themselves ready. So it doesn't matter that IEBC didn't do it, doesn't matter that the diaspora didn't do it, it doesn't matter who did not do it. It matters that we're here now. If there's anything that went wrong, we correct it now and actually get the numbers going. We really are applauding the IEBC because they made it happen. Even if we have 10 people, that's still a good number to start with. So we are looking for you who is in the diaspora. If you know a friend, I'll keep reminding you, if you know a friend with a Kenyan passport, make sure that they are going to Berlin to register. And even those ones who are across everywhere in the diaspora where there's a voting registration center, make sure that you engage. So Joy,
can I add something else?
Yes, please.
There are people who are holding the old passports, the blue ones, and there are people who are holding the new passports. As long as the passport's date is valid, even if it is the old passport, you'll be registered. I know there are some people who are saying, there was a deadline for the new passport changeover and what have you. That has been removed. So the old passports are still valid as long as it has the date is valid. You can use it to register yourself.
Asante sana. Thank you very much for that clarification. Yes, and I was going to ask Joy, the community leaders in Europe, what kind of mobilization, apart from the online, what kind of mobilization would you suggest to the people who are listening to us today that they need to do a little bit more of?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Before anyway, I go to the question, I want to thank all those who are listening. I can see most of you are joining. Share, because our aim is to make sure we reach more Kenyans. Please share. And the questions are going to be answered shortly. I can see they're all coming up. Janet will also go in parallel so that we can cover them up. So for me, right now with the 5 days, what can we do with the 5 days? As you heard what Joyce Akelo just said, the best way to do is go grab someone. I mean, people in the Berlin, this is your time now. Grab somebody around who you know, explain to them what you've heard from us. It's a word of mouth. Word of mouth is still working very active here in Europe, in Africa, as much as we are African. But I know social media, Facebook. That's why we are here on Facebook, because we realized that we can reach much more people on Facebook, because most of the Kenyans are on Facebook and also on YouTube. And we are Zoom. We did to go to the Zoom. And what also I want to encourage is the organization. There's so many organizations out there doing a lot of amazing work, bringing Kenyans together, having party engagements, and I know you like your drink, but let's also like the country where we come from. So why don't you share the same information you share with flyers to get people coming, the same way you share? We have actually been very proactive in preparing flyers with information and deadlines and countdown, and even our own organization leaders have had their own flyers sharing in their own platform created for them, which we did it as a proactive activity from the Kenya Diaspora Union of Organizations in Europe. So it is something that we have done from our side, but now the ball is back to you, get organization and individual. Right now with the 5 days, it's purely individuals. If you can be able to grab a friend and maybe they are lacking the transport, why don't you buff them up? I know it's end of the month right now, and the 5 days might make a difference. Some salaries are coming in for some people, so they might be able to go and book appointments as well, and get support, especially if it has to do with transport issues. And if you have issues with transport, especially if you can community with train, reach out to us. There are other ways that you're finding how to support you. Reach out to us and we'll get hold of you and see how we can support you in that as well. If you are really capable to reach Berlin the next 5 days, and reach out to us, and you can find me. I will leave the link down there so that you can be able to find us. And also our Berlin team, I can't forget our big Berlin team has been a lot of work on the ground, bringing people into the small groups that you've had. They've even have mandazis. Janet, I don't know whether you see that. We even made mandazis and free chais for our people who are coming in. Unfortunately, it was just for 3 days. I'm hoping we can continue with that exercise to encourage people who are coming, because where the embassy is a little bit far away from where people can grab something. So there's so much people can do, and I'm shouting out to all Kenyans out there. I think we have since a whole month, 2 months, now we are 5 days down the line, and you're going to do this. And something else I wanted to mention is that some of us would really like to also, we have another hindrance, like especially in Germany, because of the passport. When you're in Germany, your Kenyan passport is taken away. So we have those people as well. We know you cannot make it, but maybe you can help somebody else who can go and represent your children. Some of us have children who are over 18 and they have passport. They can also do that. They will be presenting you on another different angle. As well, although voting is very individual, I have to be honest with that. But you can encourage your young people, your children to go and register, because it's above 18, as we mentioned. Back to you, Janet.
Thank you, Joy, with that information. That one for the children. In London, we've seen a lot of young people coming up and they registering with their Kenyan passport. They have done really, really well with that, and we need more. Parents, you need to know that the much investment we are doing in Kenya is not for us, really, it's for our children. And if we don't Kenyanize them now, it means that when it comes to time of accessing their inheritance from you, they might not be able to access that because they have not really internalized how the processes work in Kenya. And getting involved in the voting process is their right, it's their duty, and that will really entice them to do more for Kenya and for Kenyans. So yes, if you have an 18-year-old, even if not now, start now organizing the document. So we know 2027, 2027, next election, we would want to have more people getting their documents right, get your passport right. This is just the first step. And I know the IEBC knows that. They knew it was going to be a challenge to get those documents going. But because the process has started, I know we can go for now. Joy, I will ask you to maybe bring a few questions that people are asking.
Sure, let me just bring them up. You'll see them on the screen as you're coming. Do you require any credentials to participate as an observer? So I think that goes back to Joy, Madam Joyce. Can you hear us? I think we have a problem on your side. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's much better.
Jess, are you muted?
Okay. To participate as an observer, there's a yes, I was. To participate as an observer, there's a form you'll be required to fill. But the most important thing is that you belong to an organization. So we don't accredit what do you call them? Individual observers. The idea behind this is for accountability and the ease of, as an individual, you might come and interfere with the process and we'll never be able to find you. But you have to belong to an organization. And then I think that's basically it. And the organization should be capable of catering for the logistical and whatever kind of needs the team might need. Because again, IBC does not fund observers. We don't pay observers. The reason behind this is observers are supposed to observe, monitor, evaluate the electoral process. So if we pay you or if we fund you, we might be interfering with your process, with your independence and your objectivity. So the only requirements are those: belong to an organization and also be able to fund the organization. So when the field, and we are looking at get it online. When you fill you have all the requirements that we need. Usually it's you give us your details, a photo, and then the form you're supposed to fill and sign. That basically you're pledging or abide by the code of conduct for election observers. It's not we try not to make it too difficult for people to participate, because the more people who observe the process, the more a chance, the bigger a chance we have to realize that the election process is credible and free and fair. So we don't really make it very difficult for people. We just say, have an organization, and the organization should be capable of catering for its observers.
Okay.
Can I add something? Can I add something to what Joy said?
Yes, go ahead.
All you need to do for you to do the observation of the elections, which is going to happen here, is you would look for European Union. They normally have observers for the elections, and because it's accredited organization and they must apply and register through our online system, then they can appoint you as an observer in this particular place or in any particular polling station. That would happen during the election. So what Joyce is saying is that you may not belong to European Union, but you can contact them, the observers, and not only European Union observers, but any other group that is involved in election observation. And they will nominate you and appoint you, and you will be able to get the badge and the photograph and also the details of where you'll be doing your observation. And that way they will be able to cater for your logistical requirements. The other thing, which may not be necessarily directly related to IBC, is that During the election, the presidential candidates may require agents or will require agents. At their discretion, they are supposed to have agents in all the polling stations. If there are 3, 4 presidential candidates, whatever number, they may require agents. And you can apply through them for you to become their agent at the polling station. For example, Berlin, London, or wherever. So that is also an opportunity whereby the diaspora can participate in the observation or becoming agents, just to ensure that there's transparency in the electoral process and it has been witnessed by the observers and the agents of the candidates or political parties involved.
Great, great. Another very interesting question here. I think this was going on last time. What is the importance of voting? I think this goes probably to all of us indirectly, but maybe I let also Janet to answer that one. Why should we vote?
What is the importance of voting?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a Kenyan who is asking that question, yet they've invested a lot in Kenya. For for you to know who's going to lead the country in the next term means you'd have taken your vote, you'd have given to the president of your choice. If, let's say, for example, you have a president of choice and you didn't vote and they didn't win, you're going to blame yourself for not doing that. What is the importance of voting? It is your duty to vote for the country, to vote in Kenya, now that we can actually do it. Because before, we were asking for this opportunity. Importance of voting, you need to make sure that you select leaders that can take your country to the next level. And that is what we're asking for. And that question, I'm listening to that question, I'm thinking, how many times people have moaned and moaned about any other country, not just Kenya. The leadership is not good, the leadership is not good. But it's when it comes to really making sure that they get the leader of their choice, they don't do it. So for me, the importance of voting is making sure that the person who gets to lead your country is the person you wanted to vote for. So you have that. It's even a liability for you to make sure that it's happening. If many people disconnect themselves with Kenya and they don't vote, that means the Kenya will be going places we don't want it to go. So you as a diaspora, and that question can also be for somebody who's in Kenya, because the population of Kenya is very high. And we know that there's voter apathy at the moment. Not many people are registering. We are letting ourselves down. We are letting our children down. More importantly, for us who are investing all the time in Kenya, we also have to make sure that our investments are safe. So yes, it's important to vote.
Exactly. And you have been following this right for a long time, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit of that history so that people see the work behind all that to be even here today from your side.
You see, for us, we always say you are Kenyan wherever you are. In the UK, when we started the Face of Kenya, it's because we know that we can be the best ambassadors of our country. How can we then be so crazy about our country and love our country, and then we don't engage ourselves with the voting process? We started this long time ago. 2010, even we were still talking about this. The former IEBC chairman, Mr. Isaac Hassan, we did work with him. We had roundtable discussions, requesting them. Even the president of Kenya, when he came to London, we were putting those questions across. When can we be allowed to vote? Why are we not being allowed to vote? So this has been a long-going lobbying process. And now the fact that it has actually happened, that is why you see me at the front line today, because I know how important it is for us as the diaspora to have this voice. Believe me, when they go to parliament, the leaders, they will be laughing at the diaspora. I mean, you could only make 100 after you've made so much noise. So anytime we would like to lobby something else, we might not be taken seriously, because for something like this, we took seriously. They have spent good money to have commissioners across different diaspora places, and yet we are not engaging. So even though things is not going the way we wanted them to go, right now the most important is register to vote. That way you have shown your interest. President, the president of Kenya did tell us that, yes, we would have diaspora leadership in Kenya. But how can we have diaspora leadership if even right now, this small process of registering to vote, we are not doing it? So let us also present ourselves in a way that our government can see we are seriously we want Kenya to take us seriously. We want the government of Kenya to see that diaspora is a force to reckon with. The billions and billions of money we send to Kenya, yes, it would be nice to have representation in government, but we start here. This is the first step.
Exactly. Joyce, you wanted to add something, Madam Joyce?
Yeah, I wanted to add something. But it's difficult now to add something after everything Janet has said. But we like to say that bad leaders are elected by good citizens who don't vote. Because just because you don't want to participate in an election, just because you don't want to involve yourself with politics, doesn't mean that the politics are going to leave you alone. The politics are in every single thing you do, and you have to be there to make a voice. To be president right now, for the first round, if there is no runoff, one of the things that is going to make somebody win and be a president is they have to have, apart from the 25% in at least 24 counties, there's the 50% plus one vote. It is literally 50% plus one vote. That means your votes can make a difference. Your vote matters. Your vote can, your vote is everything. And then another thing is, when you're talking about having a diaspora representative, if it's supposed to be an elective office, right now the Constitution has really stipulated who the elected officials are. So if you want an elected official, that means you have to petition, and that means you're trying to get a law changed through popular initiative. And for you to do that, you need 1 million signatures. These 1 million signatures are registered voters, have to be registered voters. Now, let me ask you, if you want a diaspora representative, what are the chances that somebody who's registered to vote in Kisumu will sign on to this form along with you to get a diaspora representative? Very little chances. So that is why it is your interest. You want the representative. So it's going to be upon you to get this memorandum signed, to get this petition signed. So that means you need at least 1 million registered voters in the diaspora if you're ever going to want a law to be changed in your favor. Do you see? So it's very important. We are no longer at that point where you can say, I'm not going to vote, I'm not going to participate. It matters a lot. It matters a lot. If you're not happy with the president people have elected and you want that person, I don't know, removed, it's your vote. Your being a registered voters can also help. So your vote matters in every single way, and it starts with registering. And another thing is, if you let other people go make the choice for you, who will you be complaining to? Who will you be complaining to? Because if I go and vote and I choose, say I choose Joy, and you don't want, and Joy starts, doing bad things and running the country to the ground, who are you going to complain to if you did not vote? You'd rather go and say, you see, you should have voted Janet like I did. It just basically gives you the moral authority to complain and to, and also being a registered voter gives you a very good ground for holding your leaders accountable. So yes, it is very important. The importance of voting, I don't think that's a conversation we can exhaust in this one meeting. It's very wide.
Exactly.
But it's very important to vote.
Yeah, Commissioner Madenge, what would you tell this lady? She's asking, what is the importance of voting? We need to hear that from you. You're muted, or let me unmute you.
Sorry, yes, sorry. Yeah, I'm saying you have Janet and Joyce have said almost everything. But I would like to add one more thing. According to our Kenyan constitution, a constituency must have a certain number of the population. And that means that, for example, if the current constitution says 100,000 people, you can make one constituency. That one constituency can elect a member of parliament. It therefore means if you diaspora people will want one day to have a representative in Kenyan parliament, you must constitute the number required to form a constituency. That means you must have at least 100,000 people. The data we have from the embassies, like now in Germany, in Berlin, it's about 12 to 13,000 people who are registered. It could be less in other places. And we know for sure, in Germany alone, there are probably more than 20, 30,000 Kenyans. What am I saying? For you to be able to push for what the president promised, you need the number. We have started this process. The more you are, they say it will be for you to lobby, like what Josh has said, even to say that there is a constituency that constitutes over 100 Kenyans, 100,000 Kenyans, and they need to be represented in parliament. The other point, which is very important, you keep sending your money, and I can tell you for sure from the records from the Central Bank of Kenya, diaspora is the largest earner of foreign exchange in Kenya today. It's not an agricultural project.
Wow.
And
Not tourism.
if you want to take care of the wealth that you are sending to Kenya, the investment you are doing to Kenya, then you need to participate in the electoral process so that you can get leaders who can protect your investment. It is key. You cannot bargain that. Otherwise, it's like taking your hand to the grassland and you do not have somebody to take care of it. You'll be eaten by hyenas and lions and what have you. So I want to urge you, that is why you must participate in the electoral process. It is a decision you must make individually and collectively, the people in diaspora. Thank you.
Wow, wow. I think if we have not convinced you and given you the most important things you need to know, I mean, we are 4 million of us. We had a big discussion yesterday, and 4 million of us, and if you're given county 48, we are even bigger than Central. I mean, and also number one in economy, before even tourism, guys. This is a big serious. We need to be actually in the government, and hopefully we can achieve that with your help. To reach 100,000 is not a lot from 4 million of us outside here. So I'll go straight to the next question. There are a few questions coming up, and then we'll wind up. For how long will you store the personal information? Who want to answer that? Joyce, do you want to? I think that's yours.
So voter registration, you remember how I said if you register to vote for the 2013 elections, you don't need to register. I don't know if I said that. But if you registered for the 2013 elections, you don't need to register again. So we will store your information. I think we're supposed to do fresh voter registration after the limitation of boundaries. So the limitation of boundaries is supposed to be completed at the outer year, because we have the Constitution gives us between 8 and 12 years. We did it in 2012. So the outer year is 2024. So by 2024, we should have completed the limitation of boundaries. And then after that, we can do a fresh registration process. So that is around when we will now lose you. Not lose it, but that is now around when we will start requesting for your new personal information. But for now, we have it. People who registered in 2013, we still have it. It's there. They'll be voting. I registered personally. I registered in 2012. I've never registered again. All I did was transfer when I moved houses. All I did was transfer. So we'll keep it for as long as we are not doing a fresh round of voter registration.
Okay, thank you.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
And that will only affect mostly the constituencies where delimitation of the boundaries is going to take place. Then the law requires that we have to register afresh. So, but your data is stored and it is safe until that time that there are any changes.
And in any case, even where you are, whether you're in Germany, you're in France, wherever you are, you in that country you vote to, they have they do have their data. I mean, the information they are taking is not, it's not very apart from your name and where you and other things like that. They really are not taking all the things like financial, whatever. So I don't think we should worry too much about how long they will keep the information. As long as you're Kenyan engaging in this process, you should always want to have the IEBC have your data. And I have never had a time that I've thought that IEBC will give my data to somebody else, because this issue of trust is a very big problem. And we need to start trusting, government bodies that are doing their job. Like, for example, IEBC has got to take your data to do their job, which is have you registered as a voter. That has to happen. So we got to trust them to do their job.
Yeah.
And also, it is not even a matter of trust, it's a matter of law in addition to the trust. I'm saying this because the Data Protection Act protects and guards that IEBC cannot use that data or get anybody to access that data other than for you to vote at the time of voting.
Thank you for making that. There's another question here. I think I have to answer this one. Our children are German. So this is a question where we were talking about children being it. Actually, today we learned a lot about there's so many here in Germany. If your child was born when you were still a Kenyan, and if you know what I mean, this means if you still had the Kenyan passport before it was taken away, and your child was born then, they can have they can have a Kenyan passport. It's a little bit sad. You lose and your children will have Kenyan passport after even 18. By the age of 23, they will have to decide which one they want. But most of the people, we understand they're having the children are having already from the age of 18 have two passports there because their parents were and you can prove you're Kenyan. That is about the Kenyan German regulation, nothing to do with Kenya now. It's a German regulation. So if you have children are German and when they were born, you are Kenyan, this is an opportunity for you to also give them a double citizenship from 18, and when they're 23, they'll have to decide. See, something that I got to learn also in the networking and mixing. There's a lot of information, and that's why I'm happy we are having this conversation now, getting information. Quite a lot of people are not informed of the situations, how it is there in Germany, and it's a good opportunity. And I would say IEBC have opened up these opportunities for diaspora to start talking, because it's our fault that we are not organized. We need to be organized better, because this would have been solved a long time and had so many people. So I think we're going closely towards the end. We only have one post to vote that is a presidential. What if I don't have the preferred one? Does that mean I will not vote?
Come again?
It's a very personal question, and I don't think any one of us can answer this apart from the person who's written. If we only have one post to vote, that is a presidential. What if I don't have the preferred one? Does that mean I will not vote?
I think Joyce should answer that.
Okay. Voting again is a personal choice. That said, if you do not have a preferred candidate, anybody, so far we actually don't have candidates yet. Who we have are aspirants. By the time we come for voting, by the time we know we have candidates, we might actually end up with so many more candidates than you know. Maybe there are some people who are still thinking about it and they haven't decided yet. And I always tell people, if you look at the ballot paper, I mean, if you look at all the people who are declaring their interest in in vying for presidency, and you don't see anybody that that stands for anything you want, what's stopping you? As a Kenyan who is registered to vote, you can contest in any elective position, any, if you're registered to vote. And right now, unlike it was in the old constitution, if you're registered to vote, you can vie anywhere for any position. So that's to say that, Janet, if you're a registered voter in London and you want to be your MCA in Kisumu North Ward, you can vie. So there's nothing that is stopping you. If you really don't find anybody who embodies the kind of things you want in your your leader, and they have declared, there's still time. You can present yourself, and you don't even have to belong to a political party. Just be an independent candidate, or of course make sure you're not actually in any political party. You can be an independent candidate, but again, it comes to personal choice. We can't tell you not to vote because you don't see anybody you prefer. The possibilities are endless, including having you on the ballot paper. I, for one, I know I would like to see a fresh face on the ballot paper. That would be very refreshing. Would like to see, in fact, if I can get 29 options for president, that would be better. So if you really don't find anybody who embodies what you want, there's nothing stopping you from presenting yourself. That's also another patriotic duty. But again, that is why you have to register, so that now if you decide, I want to vie for president because I don't like anybody, you can do it. And you can only do that if you're a registered voter.
Exactly. And I want to also mention that we Kenyan, the KDUOE, we are going to actually bring them here because it's a concern also for us, because we have to bring them here and ask them what do they have to offer for the diaspora. But and this will be coming after the registration, but we can only do that when we have numbers talks, right? So we cannot be able to, but we are thinking of how to do that, because most of the people don't even know who are the presidential candidates. And maybe you can tell us how many presidential candidates are there at the moment.
Right now, we don't have presidential candidates. We have people who are expressing interest.
Exactly. So
after the parties have presented their own presidential candidates and parliamentary candidates and whatever, governors, we shall be able to know how many presidential candidates we have. The others will go independent candidates. So right now, we have people expressing interest, saying they are going to stand for presidency and this and that. But until they are either nominated by their own party or independent, then they are still out there.
Good.
And that
I might as well say that Janet Wainaina would want to see her name on the ballot paper. So maybe, Joyce, you're encouraging me.
That's why you're here.
Yeah, Janet, you're welcome.
Janet, we need women on that seat. There are only men there.
Yes, we need women on that ballot. So I might be.
Exactly. We need presidential, because at the moment you only have council. We have a few people who have taken positions for governance, and we also have one in Europe. We know her as you all know her. She's doing a great work in Norway, and she's going for governance. But we are not voting for governance. It's only presidential. So there is opportunity for that. And so the person who asks, you still have time to decide, and we hope that you'll get the right person when we get to that point. So I think we did manage to convince this lady. I think you have convinced me. I'm going to vote. Well done, and I hope you do it. And please text me, Joy Awe. I need to
I will find you myself. I will find you, Anuagidaiga. Make sure that happens. But seriously speaking, the mood this week with the diaspora, it's getting better. It looks like a lot of people will be mobilized this week to actually go and register to vote. So I am feeling quite enthusiastic, to be honest, that, the work that we've been doing, lobbying and mobilizing, it's getting somewhere. So that's really good. Yeah. So
Thank
Joy,
you for confirming. That's the last one here coming up, and then we move to what are the documents needed for kids in Germany path to apply? Okay, this is more German side. So what I'll ask you, there is a women group called Kenyan Women in Germany. I would recommend you to check on that. They seem to have a lot of information, but we're going to see how this information doesn't only go one direction, also more. Keep following our organization. We are going to invite the German also themselves on our platform so that they can inform you. That's where we need this. I don't know, Janet, if you have these umbrellas. Yeah, we need an umbrella in Germany that can be sending information so that people can all get the information. And that's our aim. Hopefully this IEBC will open this opportunity. We know they are in France, Switzerland. I think they are working on it, and in Holland as well. So this something can go. So I'll hand you back to you. I think there was a big statement here, and I don't know. I'll just lift it up quickly, and I'm going to read it through. But I hope we'll understand. I've been reading it several times, but I really don't get the point here. But it's information, I think. So I'll just put it down and read it out for you. The passport issue has hindered many. Maybe next time IEBC can liaise well in advance with organization, embassies in diaspora to enable facilitate registration through Kenyan IDs for any citizen or dual nationals where passports under renewal process. They could finish the leaders. They could furnish the leaders of this organization or the directory with the local embassies proof, paperwork, because it's all available. That despite dual citizenship or otherwise. That's why haven't renounced the Kenyan nation. So it's a very long one.
I think I'm getting the question, and that question has been asked so many times. And the discussion we have now is, as a diaspora leaders, we need to lobby properly for the government to allow that clause that Kenyans in the diaspora can use their national ID. But that it's the law as it is right now, we can't. But it means after this, we have just a small window. In the next 5 days, there's not change we can do. But I do believe if we really keep the force we are having with us right now to really work well with the government, especially when it comes to voting, I do believe we need to find those laws that don't really work well with the diaspora. We need to lobby for them. We need to make sure that the parliaments are discussing this issue. So we can't keep quiet anymore. I do believe the IEBC are tied by the law. We are also in a place where we can't make the changes very quickly. We need to lobby. But for us to be able to lobby, we need to be proper united.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah. And I have here a question from me to Commissioner Wande. What happens now after now? And we'll go all the way to voting, and then after voting, can you help us to understand that length? I know we are a little bit Germans, and I excuse ourselves, we have been pushing you ahead. We want to know, what are the plans now? What can IEBC do after voting to make that these things happen faster, and the engagement? How are we going to be improving this?
Okay, thank you very much. I think from now, like Joyce has said, we are going to do voter verification so that we can be able to know that all the data is correct. Then we are going to audit the register as well. We are going to audit the register. We do the verification. And then from there, after the voting, on the 9th of August, we will be able to probably come up with the programs that can assist the diaspora. And I have been telling the people we are meeting that we probably need to get together as diaspora organizations and make your petitions. After you have done the elections, we have learned a lot of things. We have known what is hindering the diaspora from participating in the electoral process. Then we shall, as IEBC, we can spearhead the election act changes that will help diaspora to participate more in the elections going forward, that is after this election. We will want to engage in a more constructive way. We will need to engage Parliament, not only by IEBC, but also by yourselves. We need to lobby also, for example, in Germany, to be allowed to have dual citizenship. And I hear that is also in the process, so that if we are Kenyan, if we become a German, you do not lose your citizenship of Kenya, and therefore you'll be able to, all those kind of things. So we need to engage in a more constructive way. We're even saying, going forward, probably after this election, we may decide as IEBC, in consultation with the national government and national treasury, to be carrying out elections, registration of voters annually in every country that we anticipate we are going to have election. For example, now, in all the diaspora countries that are involved, we may consider every summer we'll be sending people to come and do the registration of voters, because the law talks about continuous voter registration. And for diaspora, we can engage and agree that every summer there'll be people their registration process taking place, so that in the next 5 years after this election, we will be able to have a lot more people registered, not just a matter of 2-3 weeks or 1 month, but every year we have a number of days, maybe a month or so, when people can register. Those are engagements we can get into immediately after the elections. And through your team of leaders, we can see what we can do. If it needs lobbying Parliament, we will be able to do that. Where there's no lobbying done, we'll see how it is going to be effected. And it's much easier that way. By the time we are coming to 2027 elections, we shall have a lot more people registered if we can do that every year for the next 5 years. So those are our proposals, and we need you to come up with those proposals, because you understand yourselves better. You understand how best you can be able to serve you. Okay. Munaenda kulala.
Thank you so much. Yes, I can see your people are going to sleep, and we are also going to end up back to you, Janet, to wind up so that we can.
Let me just add something there.
Okay.
On top of what the commissioner has said, I would also like to remind you or inform you that registration to vote is just one process. There's very many other processes coming, and up until voting time. So what we do at IEBC, organizations like yours that are already on the ground doing very good work, we can accredit you as voter education. We can accredit you as voter education providers, and then we can organize. I mean, the world has become such a small place these days with technology. We can organize a meeting like this one, and we brief you, and then now you can do voter education even without us. And what we do is we have found that, especially back home, organizations that are accredited as voter education providers, that extra certificate has been able to secure them some funding from donors to be able to be out there doing voter education. So it would be good if you would apply for accreditation. You get that. You can do continuous voter education, because it has to be a continuous engagement process. People have to keep knowing what is happening. We might receive very few, I don't know, we are hoping for more registered voters. We're hoping for at least one complete polling station in Berlin. That is, one complete polling station is 700 people. I know 5 days left, we can still do it. Yeah, so we can do that. And then after this, we can let our people know. They can keep telling people, this is what is coming. We are going to have inspection. We're going to have verification. So they know, so that we don't wait until the last minute and then we suddenly trying to jam you with too much information. I think we can do that. I would encourage you to apply to be accredited as voter education providers.
Definitely. It's something that we consider. Thank you so much for that. And they're happy to hear there's also a process not just after and disappearing. And I can tell you, I'm German. We're gonna be after you, Mr. Commissioner Wainaina. You know me, yeah. Right now, we'll follow you with your word. So thank you, thank you. Back to you, Janet.
Yes, I agree. Like I have been supporting IEBC throughout this process, but I've also been one who's saying this voter education should have happened way before. We would be in a better place right now. So moving forward, we will get involved because we know that with us getting involved, it's not for the IEBC, it's for our own right, it's for our own good that we're into this process. So thank you very much, viewers who on the program today. 5 days to go in Berlin. The center is still open, 8 o'clock to 5 p.m. German time, making sure that you and a friend and another friend, have a Kenyan passport. Take your time there, go and get registered. So thank you very much, Joy, for inviting me to moderate this. Thank you, Commissioner Wanderi and Joyce, for being here to share this information. You're doing this work over and over again. You must be tired, obviously, at this time, working the weekend, even at this time, you're still working, passing this information. We don't take it for granted. We know that working with the diaspora can be tiring because we are used to a system that works where we are. The system in Kenya works, but we always have what we call the Kenyan way, and a lot of people, that is what they are really not, they're not engaging because of that, the Kenyan. No, we have to show the IEBC that us in the diaspora can engage in the way of the countries we are in. We can engage properly. So please, making sure, I can see Watoni Becky there, watching all the way from Brandenburg. Engage your people from Brandenburg and tell them, let us go to Berlin Embassy and register to vote. God bless you and have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you, Janet, as well. Face of Kenya, Germany, we are waiting for them also to be connected with us. So yes. Thank you so much. Now, just quickly before you go, I want to thank everybody who is listening, because without you guys, that's why we are here. And we appreciate all your comments that are coming in. You can hear some even people are from, I don't know whether that was a Kenya question or something, but thank you so much. We can see you're there, your engagement. There's somebody else I want to recognize as Susan. Thank you. Excellent idea, Commissioner Wanderi. It's the way of coming up with the idea of annual registration voters. It's very much appreciated by the women here and the men as well. And I have to say, I am not working with this alone. Janet, we have a whole team. Ben could not be here. He's just traveling, and also he's been doing a lot of work in Berlin. We have to connect with them. If you need to go to Berlin, reach out to us. We'll share the contacts on the chat so that you can get in direct contact with them. And then we also have quite a lot of team mobilizing in different countries. And we still believe 5 days, Joyce, will make it 700.
That's correct.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So good night, guys.
And I'm encouraged. Nikisikia Berlin 700, I'm like, hey.
No, you guys, we're gonna defeat you next time. So keep playing there for there. So thank you so much, everyone, and we are going to wind the show with a few information here for you. Of course, we are here because of other organizations that are also supporting us in the background. So see you. Good night, and in another voters education chat.
Twajivunia. TapTap Send Money Transfer has launched its app in Kenya. Send money to M-Pesa and Kenyan bank accounts. Send money quickly at the best rate. Hassle-free. Available in the UK, France, Italy, Spain, Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany. Tumakitu.